Hey guys, if you've been following me on Facebook and Instagram, you would have seen recently I've had ACL surgery. And after a couple of weeks, it's coming along good, but I'm still about a few weeks away before I can start thinking about fishing or four-wheel driving. So while I'm grounded, I thought today I'd go through the boating safety app called SafeTrx. SafeTrx is run and operated centrally by the Australian Volunteer Coast Guard in its headquarters in Victoria. It's a way to electronically track and monitor your boating activities around the Australian coastline and potentially around the world. The app tracks the user's whereabouts and sends poles, or I like to call it breadcrumbs, to the monitoring station. Each breadcrumb contains key information including your identity, your location, and even the battery life on your phone. The operators can visually see if you've dropped out of range or due to battery life on your phone. If your phone does lose mobile coverage, the breadcrumbs are stored on your phone and then it uploads up to the monitoring station where the mobile coverage picks up again. Each active user in the system can be seen on the map by the monitoring station. In emergency situations, this could mean life or death as it greatly narrows down the search area for authorities if you ever come unstuck. So this is one of my past trips that's stored on the app. As you can see here, this was 6th of Jan 2019. This is our holiday in Port Lincoln when we still had our tinny. As you can see here, I turned on the app around 11:11 a.m. and the last poll was around 4:22 p.m. We launched here at the boat ramp, turned on the app. We went across over to Port Lincoln National Park, went around here and searched for more whiting around Donington Beach. We've come back around Port Lincoln. I think we went squidding in the shores here for a little while. Then we've come back in the afternoon. You can see here as well, I've actually forgotten to log off. I reckon this was the time when the Coast Guard actually called me and that reminded me to log back off. So with a standard VMR check-in, you tell them where you're going, who you're with, and what time you're destined to come back. Whatever you do in between isn't really picked up or monitored. So that's the advantage of the SafeTrx app. It literally pinpoints where you've been and your last known location. So if this was extended trip far out, the authorities would at least see where your last location was and your overall direction of travel. SafeTrx supports iOS and Android devices. You will need a good smartphone, and where you can, make sure you have additional power source to top up your battery. You're also going to need a reliable mobile phone provider. Coverage out in the ocean is never 100%. I use the Telstra network as it has by far the best coverage out in the water. So to get started on the app, you'll need to download the SafeTrx app, which I've done already here. Before you get started, what you need to do is edit your profile. I've got just the one profile set up for my Yellowfin 7000. And you fill in all the details there. So once you've set up your profile, basically there's two options. There's sail plan and track only. Track only is probably the simplest option. So as you saw in the example I showed you earlier, when I went out of Port Lincoln, that was the track only feature. To use it, hit track only, select the activity you're going to do. So here, for me here, it's fishing. Select the vessel or the craft. Select your POB, people on board. So for example, there's two adults, 2 children. And here the tracking interval. So this is the breadcrumbs I was talking about. You select 30, 10 and 15 or continuous. So obviously the more aggressive the poles or the breadcrumbs, the more aggressive the app is on your battery life. So a good place to start is 10 minutes. When you hit start, it starts tracking your movements from there. So let's just say you've been out fishing for the day and then you've come back and you've safely docked. You come back to this app, hit stop, and okay. So that completes the trip and terminates the session. The other one is the sail plan. So I've only used this a couple of times, and my most recent trip where I spent over 30 hours in the South Australian coast, we were probably about 100 kilometers offshore. And for that particular trip, just knowing I might lose battery power and also mobile coverage, I used the sail plan feature. So to use sail plan, select sail plan. As you can see here, it comes up with mode records starting point and a destination, additional waypoint and estimated time of arrival. Also sends SMS to your emergency contact. So I'll show you through all of that in a minute. So when creating a new trip, you select the vessel or the craft that you're using. Here is your ETA, so this is where you set your return from your journey. So here, let's just say I'm gonna go out for a couple of days. Select your POB, 2 adults, 2 children, and your activity. Hit next. Here is where you select which contacts you want to be notified of your trip. So whether or not you're sharing your trip or want them to be notified if you don't come back at a particular time, these are the key people and ideally ones you trust with this type of information. So here you select your starting point. Let's just say we're about to launch from North Haven. Click next. Select your waypoint and say we are going to Edithburg. Next. And our endpoint will be North Haven again. Here you can add a checklist as part of your preparations for your trip. I don't bother using that because I use my own checklist. And click Set Sail. Make sure you read the disclaimer and accept. So at this point you have the option to send your sail plan to your emergency contacts. If you hit yes, they'll immediately get the SMS with the link. For this purpose, I'll go no. And that's it, you're ready to go. So let's just say 2 days later, just before my ETA, I can end trip. Once again, that completes the trip. Selecting yes on this pop-up will notify your emergency contacts that your trip has ended. For now, I'm going to click no. And the other key thing here is call for help. So let's just say you are in mobile coverage. You've got the option to call for assistance, which calls the Australian Volunteer Coast Guard or the emergency services 000. Well, that's it from me today. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'll save the relevant links to the description of this video. Otherwise, stay safe in the water and I'll see you next time.